How you doing, guys? Welcome to another episode. And in this episode I'm gonna show you not only just to change the brakes, the front brakes, for my 2000 Honda Accord, but I'm gonna show you how to keep a full service to your brakes, especially right now that is winter, or kind of like winter is coming because it's not really cold here in Georgia. But if you live in areas where the temperature goes down a lot, I'm gonna show you how to do a proper service to your brakes. So if you've seen my previous videos on how to change brakes, I was always using this Permatex synthetic lube for the calipers. And now because it's getting cold, I want something a little bit more extreme. So I just went to the store and I picked up this. It's same brand, Permatex. This is Extreme Brake Parts Lubricant. So I'm gonna show you how to go from that one to this one. I'm gonna remove all the old lubricant on the slider pins, on the pads, everywhere, and I'm gonna start using this. This one goes from -50 degrees all the way to 3000 degrees. So this is a little bit better, especially if it's really cold where you live, or in summer if you try to track your car, or you like to drive fast and you're heavy on the brakes. This one is gonna work better. So I'm gonna switch to this one. Brakes are due on my car, so I'm gonna show you all that step by step. And I want to mention that Permatex is not sponsored this video. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm doing this with my own money. So Permatex, you're welcome. Another bonus for you guys, the proper way to jack up your car. This is where your radiator is located. The best and easy way to jack up your car. Next to that, you're gonna see the subframe. And this one, the subframe, has got a little hump in the middle, and right there you jack up your car. And right now the car is not supported on the jack only. I have jack stands. I block my rear tires. And another thing, guys, if you remember, I make a video, I changed the paint on my headers. If you can see, after 1 week of fully driving this car, you can see the headers. Paint is still looking really good. I'm not repainting this just for the video. That paint actually works, and it works fine. Okay, guys, and if you don't have one of these, this is to push the piston when you're replacing brakes. You can use one of these clamps with the old brake pad, and then you can push the piston in. But this is really cheap. You can get it for like 10 bucks on the auto parts store. So I recommend you to get one of those. And when I start doing the service to the brakes, I know my brakes are due. I'm gonna show you in a minute when I remove them. So another thing that you need to do, keep an eye for everything on your suspension. Make sure that everything looks good and tight. Just a visual inspection. You don't have to go like crazy on it, but you can see I have my new brake lines. Check out that video. I'm gonna put the link on the description. No leaks. Everything looks good on the brake line. And I just checked my spacer. It looks really tight. This one has a new wheel speed sensor. Check out that video too. I'm gonna put it on the description. So guys, if you're working on your car, on your brakes especially, you gotta work with your car, not against your car. So by jacking up the car from the front, you have the two wheels on the front free. Okay, so make sure that you have your key on the ignition, and it doesn't have to be on, but that's just gonna help you so the steering wheel doesn't lock. And the only thing you need to do, turn it, because you're gonna be loosening up the bolts on this side. So work with your car, not against it. You're gonna have more leverage if you move your steering wheel to the right, if you're working on the passenger side. If you work on the driver's side, just you gotta move the steering wheel to the left, and then you're gonna have more space, more leverage to remove the bolts. And in this case, there is two 17mm bolts that you gotta remove. If you remove your pins so you don't get confused. If you see here on the caliper, you have a G on the bottom and an L on top. Same thing on the bolts, you have an L right there, and on the other one you have a G. Because the pins are a little bit different, you can see right here on the top, they're different. And then so you don't get confused, make sure that this one goes on top with the L, a G on the bottom. Now remove your caliper, and then you can remove your old brake pads. Now you can see here I have my brake pads, the old ones, and obviously the one on the inside is gonna wear out a little bit more than the one on the outside, because you have the piston on this side. So the pressure start in this side on the inside, so the piston is gonna put pressure on the brake pad, and then it's gonna transfer that to the pad on the outside. Sometimes the pad on the inside is gonna wear out a little bit more than the one on the outside. That's pretty normal. But if the difference is more than 2 millimeters, that means that you need to lubricate your slider pins. The ball pads, they look kind of like the same, so it puts pressure evenly. So that means that everything works properly on my brakes, because I service these brakes really like every 6 months. The next step is I'm gonna remove these little boots, these little plastic covers. Okay, I'm gonna clean them really well on the inside. I'm gonna remove all the old grease. I'm gonna clean inside the bracket on both here on top and bottom. Okay guys, and after a good session cleaning this part, you can see here the boots. You can see here everything is really clean, and pins really clean, all your hardware, and inside I clean everything with the Q-tips. Okay, next thing that you need to do, make sure the rubber here in the piston, it doesn't get stuck, because when you push your piston you might damage the rubber boot here. And make sure that it's free, and if you can see there, it's not stuck to the metal. Now we want to be able to press the piston in without damaging the rubber. If you see there, the piston went in without a problem, without damaging the rubber, because the rubber is not stuck to the piston or to the caliper. So we have no problems in there. And I push all the fluid back into the line, because if you remember, like 2 weeks ago, I replaced my brake lines. So I know all my brake fluid in the whole car is brand new, so I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so everything is ready for installation. All the hardware is clean and ready to go. I don't have new ones, so I'm gonna reuse this. I'm just gonna put some lubrication in here so the brake pads slide with no problems. Okay guys, everything is ready to go. Let's just put everything back together. When you're ready to put your brakes, make sure the wear out indicator is on the back side, and it has to be on the bottom. Okay, not on top, on the bottom. Have my new brake pads. Make sure that if you're gonna put any lubrication on the little ears from your brake pads, don't put a lot. You don't need to go crazy on this one. Just make sure that you put some, and if you put a lot, it's gonna grab more dirt from the road. Okay, we're our indicator on the bottom, not on top. Next step, we have here the little rubber boots. I'm just gonna put them inside again. And you just have to press on them, and then they should go inside with no problems. So I'm gonna put not a lot. You don't have to go crazy. Everything is clean and it doesn't have any grease inside, but at the same time you don't have to go really crazy on it. Just make sure the whole pin is covered, and you just gotta go all the way to here, because in here you have the threads. You don't have to put them on the threads. Okay guys, you can see we have the rubber boot on it. When you put it back on in this type of brakes, make sure that it doesn't bite. Make sure that everything sits properly from the rubber boot. Now put your pin. Now the one on the bottom, same thing. If you have excess of lubricant, just clean it. Okay, and your brake should work properly. Now, next thing that I gotta do, tighten them up to torque specs. Okay guys, just to finish, these bolts, the pins, you gotta torque them down to 27 foot-pounds of torque. And the bolts, the two bolts on the bracket here on the rear, you gotta torque those down to 79.6 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm gonna torque this down, put my wheel, torque it down to spec, move to the driver's side, and finish this. After you're replacing the brakes, go and press your brake pedal a couple of times until you have more pressure on it. That means that you have brakes. Pretty much is the same thing for every car when you're working on your brakes, and that's how you do it, guys. So I hope you like this video, guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.